Welcome to Listen.
Teacher Chatter.
This is Robin.
And Laura.
Listen, I know you're wondering where my friend Jill is. Well, Jill is a busy person, and so she was not able to make it this week. And so I asked my good friend that you'll hear, I know you've heard me talk about my neighbor next door, my school neighbor. Well, this is her. You finally get to see her. Now, before we start, I need to let you know that you're going to think that she has multiple personalities because she said her name is
Laura.
I call her Laura. And the funny story about this is how many years did we were next door to each other up in first grade?
Just one.
One? Oh, it's just one.
It's just 1 year.
Feels like we've been together a lot longer. So anyway, 1 year, okay? And then we were separated for a year, and then we came back for a year.
Yes.
And then this year, Katie, the OT I work with, said something like, well, Laura. And I was like, why are you calling her Laura? And she said, that's her name. And I said, it's Laura. And she said, no, her name's Laura. I've been calling her Laura for 3 years, and she's never corrected me. And her real name is Laura,
yes.
Right?
So now you call me Laura.
Laura. So she thinks I said it with an accent. I feel like I just say, I feel like I am mocking you when I call you by your real name, like Laura. Like, I feel that way, but that's her name. So you know what? She might be called Laura. She might be called Laura. Who knows? So anyway, I said, hey, I have something really fun for you to do. Come join me on the podcast today. And I felt like it was really fun. I don't think Laura thinks it's as fun as I think it is, but I appreciate her coming today. We're going to interview her. She's going to tell you a little bit about herself. And we'll get into that a little bit. So, but to start off, we're going to do our highs and lows.
Okay.
Now, listen, I always make Jill go first. So I feel like even though you're my guest, it's only right that I make you go first. Do you like that?
Yeah.
You like how this is?
What a great idea.
No wonder Jill's gone today. Maybe Jill's angry. Maybe now I know there's a problem. But anyway, okay. So what is your low? Well, I usually start with the low and then with high. But guess what? You're my guest. You can do what you want.
Okay. So my low and my high kind of go together.
Okay.
So I'm a big Chiefs fan.
Yo.
So the Chiefs, they won.
Yes.
So that was super exciting. My low, however, is that my boyfriend is a huge Packers fan.
Oh.
They also won.
Oh.
And so my problem is there's a slight chance, not a real big chance, because it's very unlikely that either of them are probably advancing very far. But my fear is Chiefs-Packers Super Bowl.
Oh. And listen, I like the Chiefs. I do. But I'm not a diehard. Like, I like it, but I'm not a football obsessed fan. You need to know. Now, Jill, they're huge Chiefs fans too. So they're like you are. But she is a diehard Chiefs fan.
Yes.
Her boyfriend is a diehard Packers fan. He likes Chiefs.
Yes.
But he likes Packers.
But not when the Packers are playing.
No, not the Packers. So that is going to be very stressful.
Yes. And the problem is if the Chiefs win, he will be like, oh, great game. Like, that was awesome. And if the Packers win, I would like to say that I would react the same. But I'm not sure.
You won't have quite that sweet spirit.
Competitiveness kind of takes over, and I can't be held responsible.
You know what? Being honest is the first step. So that's what I'm proud of you for being honest about this. So you know what?
We'll see.
And you know what? When this comes out, you'll know already.
We'll know.
So you know what? If the Chiefs lost, do not come see Laura at school, okay? Just lay low.
I'm going to need 3 business days.
Now the good news, after 3 business days, it's okay. But you know what? Good news, you're around Chief people that love it, so they're going to be sad too. So they can. So that's the good news, okay? Well, you know what? I know y'all are tired of hearing my high, but my gosh, the snow days. And let's talk about this because last week, Jill and I talked about it, and I said, listen, I feel like when you hear this on Monday, we've been out Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and you're off Monday, and you're going to be out Tuesday. Hey, we were out 6 days. We were out Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday, which is a bonus. Like, I did have kind of a feeling, but I did not know for sure. 6 days we were out. In fact, on the 6th day, I had people calling saying to me, I probably have 4 texts that said, stop praying for these. Stop. Why? How many dances did you do?
What text did you have for me?
She said, man, I think it was Laura. She said, since they put you on the snow committee, we haven't been to school since. And you know what? That's exactly true. Now, you're listening to this on Monday, and I'm pretty sure you're home because we've had freezing rain. So you know what? You're on a 3-day weekend. So you know what? And my other friend said stop, and I said I was going to lay low till February and not pray anymore. I want you to know when I said that, I wasn't going to pray. But now that it's here, I feel like it's only right to end. I feel like I need to go where God leads me. So it's none of your business what I pray about. Let's just put it that way. My prayer life is my own business. You mind your own business. We'll just see how it lands. So you know what? If it is Monday and you're home and you're happy, you're welcome. If not, just don't worry about it. You should be happy to have a day off. And it's our first AMI day. Mm-hmm. So that if that is a little bit different, but listen, who cares? Who cares? You know what? Some people are like, it's AMI day. Who cares? You're home. You're home. You can work in your pajamas. Exactly. And nobody cares. Exactly. As long as they're appropriate. So let's clarify that. But I don't think we have to get online so it doesn't get to be available. So you can be in your inappropriate pajamas if you want to. Emailing. Just emailing away. So that is my high because mother of pearl, I felt like another Christmas break. Honestly, I was well rested. I know. All those things. So I was living my best life.
It was fantastic.
The low, listen, I maybe this is the snow days too, but I'm just not sleeping that well. I'm waking up in the middle of the night, I think because I'm so rested. When you don't do anything all day and you kind of sleep in, I was still getting up between 7:30, 8:30, but I would just crawl out of bed, put my robe on. I'm a robe person. Are you a robe person?
I am not a robe person.
I'm older. I used to not be a robe person. I used to make fun of people with robes. Now I have a black robe and I put it over my pajamas and I go to the living room, I pull up a chair, get a blanket, and I would read for hours. So I loved it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Now, something else I've never been slippers. Are you a slipper person?
Oh, I'm a slipper person.
I've never had slippers. I just got some in the mail. I cannot wait to go home. Oh, yeah. My feet are going to feel amazing. I feel like I'm becoming more of a homebody. So these things are important. So I'm really hoping that, I hope you've enjoyed your day home today and you're welcome. So that's just not sleeping, but I think it's because I'm not tired.
Yeah.
I mean, we know you're tired. So anyway, we'll leave that another day. Okay. So listen, here's why. Well, and I want to do a shout out really quick. To Christy Richard. She is my assistant principal. She won the Missouri Assistant Principal of the Year award. And she is, is right. She is amazing. And of all Missouri, I don't know if it's all Missouri. I'm going to make that up. It might just be Southwest Missouri. We might as well go home Missouri, but Southwest. But anyway, well-deserved. And she is amazing. And I'm super happy for her. So that's a good shout out to her. So here's the thing. I'm the behavior interventionist. Laura is our opportunity teacher. Mm-hmm. Now, some of you were wondering, what is an opportunity teacher? Because you know what? That sounds like an opportunity for winning $1 million, opportunity for going places. It's kind of our behavior room, severe behavior room. Yeah. So we like to call us the behavior gurus, which we're totally not because we don't know what we're doing half the time. But we like to stay strong. We're called the behavior busters. We're gonna we might talk about making this TikTok. We are who you gonna call behavior busters. So that's so we get to work a lot together and we laugh a lot together because if we don't laugh, we cry and do those things. So I thought it'd be really fun. We have not really interviewed for this of someone that is a special ed teacher. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to ask her some questions. She's going to talk about it and we're going to see. So you ready? All right. Tell us about yourself, family, current, past, jobs, hobbies, interests, anything you want us to know. Now, if you don't want us to know, listen, it's on here and the world's going to know this. So don't say anything you're going to regret. Okay.
I grew up in a small town. My parents just celebrated their 37th anniversary this month. So shout out to them. And then I have 2 sisters, one older, Melissa, and one younger, Emily. And when we were growing up, we fought a lot.
So that makes me have hope because I have 2 girls. So.
My dad was on the road through the week and he was home on the weekends, and so it was just us four girls in a house. There were lots of fights, but now that we are adults, we thought we'd give the whole living together thing a second chance. So we all three live together, and we have for 7 years now. So that's a lot of fun. I'm super close to them, super family oriented. So my family is really important to me. So that's kind of where I came from. Hobbies. I like to play sports, pretty much any kind of sport. I grew up playing basketball and volleyball. I played for the Missouri State handball team.
Wow.
So that's what I spent a lot of my college years doing, and still sometimes play. It's been a little bit. It gets a little bit more difficult to make it when working a full-time job.
Listen, these full-time jobs really ruin our life.
they really just get in the way of everything. But yeah, so I like to do that stuff in my free time, and spend time with family and friends.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
And so, how long you have been at North? How long?
This is my 4th year.
4th year. So you graduated from college.
Yep.
And this was your first job.
This
right?
was. Yep. I went straight into my first year of teaching. But before that, I worked as a para in a similar classroom to what I'm teaching in.
Uh-huh.
So,
which I do think is probably a good thing, because it does kind of give you a sense of knowing what you were getting into,
yeah.
and kind of see when you're a para what you like, what you don't like, because a lot of those things that you got to do.
Yeah, and I got to work I was actually there 3 years, and each year I worked under a different teacher.
Oh,
and so I really got to see. They all three were very different in their approach. And I got to kind of experience that for a year on 3 different approaches,
which
to
is nice.
Like achieve kind of the same goal.
Yeah.
And I kind of got to take little bits from each person and make my own way of doing things. So
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. So when I say this question, I always feel like it's very cheesy. It's what we say. But what is your why for teaching? Like, why? Because I will tell you, what is your degree in?
I have my undergrad in social work and my master's in special education.
Okay. So I will tell you, because I've taught special ed too before, behavior, and especially the class you teach, is a very hard class. It is not for everyone. And it is one that I always feel like it takes a very special person to do, which I will tell you, listen, I wish she wasn't here, because I hate to say nice things when she's here, because, but Laura does a great job. Like, I wish you guys could, like, she stays calm. She's easygoing. She lets things roll off of her. Like, I feel like we kind of have the same personality on a lot of things. We really do. I think she might even be a little bit better than I am. I don't want to admit that, but like, I might get a little more fired up than she does, and I'll surprise you. She's a little more even keel, I think. So what is your why? Like, what made you want to do that?
So my why is kind of hard, because I didn't grow up knowing like I want to be a teacher. Yeah. I knew I wanted to work with kids in some capacity. And so I actually was a year out from graduating with my degree in social work. And I worked at a summer camp at Arc of the Ozarks. And I just fell in love. And I was like, I have to work with kids with disabilities in some way. I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I'm going to do it some way. And it was actually a super weird turn of events. My mom was at an event in our hometown, and she ran into a lady that she went to high school with. And my mom was kind of just, telling her about all of her kids and what they were going through. And she was somehow connected to the special ed department at Missouri State. And because I was thinking about changing my major, and I was a year from being done. So it was stressful, but I was that passionate about it that I was like, I have to do this. And she was somehow connected with the special ed program at Missouri State. She was like, no, you need to tell her to contact this person. She needs to go into this specialized program. And it's just weird how it all just fell together. And it was specifically a program for people who already had a degree. And then there was like an extra year to go ahead and get your master's in it too. And it was part-time, and a requirement was to work in a classroom
Which is smart. That's actually very smart.
And so you had to work as a para or a provisional teacher for 2 years. And so I chose the para route. And I actually signed on to be a one-on-one para with a student who just needed help with some physical tasks. And some turn of events. And that student ended up moving away. And then I was like, well, what do we do now? And so
what are you signing me up for?
Yeah. So I ended up just assisting in the behavior classroom that year. And it's just, I would have never saw myself in a behavior classroom. And it just like everything fell into place. And when I was like looking for a job, I was just like, I can't see myself anywhere else. I just fell in love with the kids. And like you've mentioned, we have a smaller caseload. And so while you deal with kiddos who have these extreme emotions to try and get themselves regulated, and you also are just, you get to know them so personally. Well. And I just think my why is just getting to show kids love that sometimes are difficult to love.
I 100% agree.
And so I think that's my why. It's just, I want to be a positive person in kids' lives.
And I think
I know, and that sounds cheesy.
No, but it is what it is. You know, and I think the thing is, I think that's exactly, and I laugh because Nicole, who I talk about so much, she's an academic interventionist, and she's retiring, and like 20 people wanted that job. And we laugh. We was like, when I retire, I'm gonna be like, anyone? I feel like your job. Laura does. She's the only one. But I think because you have to know your people. But I think that's why I love our job, is because our kids that we work with rub people the wrong way. And they go through all school, and no one really, and we get to be that person that really, and we really do love them. Like that's what I was saying. Someone's like, how do you do your day? I was like, listen, those kids become like your own kids, and you pour in them, and you love them, and they mean so much to you, and we get to be that. So I think, I mean, I'm with you. It sounds cheesy, but I think it's spot on. And we had never really talked about how you got into that. But I love how like God lays things out for us when we didn't even know. And my little, at the end of the thing, it's exactly what I talked about, and we'll talk about it in my little devotion at the end. But my thing was, God's a God of extra. And you knew you wanted to do things, and when you kind of think, but like God orchestrated your mom running into that lady, and that she was able to talk to that she had something at Missouri Southern where you already were. Like it's amazing how God opens door, and then where you were going to work one-on-one, but no, you're in the behavior room, and it's like things we don't even know that we wanted in the job that we love. How he orchestrates it, and that is awesome. So. All right, so I'm perfect on the why. I love that too. Your favorite school memory from your own life?
My favorite school memory. I think it's just all of the clubs and sports that I participated in. I was in all the extracurriculars. I was in band. I played basketball and volleyball. I did a short stint with track. That was not my strong suit, but I was out there.
I did a short stint in track too, and they actually put me in the hurdles, which I don't know. Listen, I was definitely looked different when I was younger. But even when I was younger, I would not think I was hurdle material. And I remember having to jump off. I was like, that was a short stint. So
I was in the mile. I remember my first race. I was so exhausted afterwards that I made it past the finish line, killed over in the grass, and then I was catching my breath before someone told me that I actually didn't come in last, and I had no idea.
And you're like, I'm just glad to be alive. I do love that.
It's some of my best memories.
Okay, what teacher inspired or encouraged you? Like the teacher look back and you think, man, she made a difference, or he made a difference.
I would have to say my 4th grade teacher, Miss Bierman. So I had trouble focusing when I was reading. when I would read in my head, I would be thinking about everything under the sun other than what I was reading. But she noticed that when I would read out loud, that I comprehended everything I was reading really well. But in a classroom, that's not always, you're not always able to read out loud. And so her husband, Mr. Bierman, Coach Bierman, who I actually went to some of his basketball camps, he coached basketball at the private school in my hometown. He made me a little phone out of PVC pipe. Yeah. And so when I sat at my desk and we were doing independent reading, I could read into the phone.
I remember having those when I was teaching.
Yeah. And so that wasn't something that my school had. I went to a really small school. Yeah. And so he, in his own time, which I'm sure she asked him to do, they went and they made these phones for me and probably some other kids in the class. But I still look back on that and I remember how they went above and beyond to do something extra for me. So
I love it.
That was
I love it. Okay, now listen. Funniest teaching story. Now listen. We are next door to each other. So we actually have a lot of funny things that, she's had some without me, but why would we want to share any of those? Because this is about her and I. We are a team. But we started doing this and we started laughing all over because there was actually lots of them. So which one do you think is your funniest? And we'll see if we agree.
Okay, I got to see how to go about this. So, like we've stated, sometimes we deal with kids who have extreme reactions to certain events. Yeah. And so I had a kiddo who was upset and he was actually playing in the water faucet in the bathroom in our pod. Yeah. So we have like a little pod and we have a boys and a girls bathroom. So he's playing in the water and so he starts to kind of throw water towards the staff that was standing around. And so my quick thinking, I grab some bean bags, I pass them out so that we are not drenched in water. And so I'll back up a little bit. At the beginning of the year, Miss Robin had a grand idea. That
it was a brilliant idea. Brilliant.
She should put pictures of our faces in the pod with little motivational quotes next to them. Little did I know that she was creating the best behavioral strategy. Because when I was covered myself with a beanbag, my student went and put the water on my picture in the hallway. So, which win?
Yeah, we're all winning
for everyone.
So I was like, listen, I don't care what he does to your picture up there. Yeah. So he splashed that. So we're laughing so hard. Which came to me, I was like, well, you know what? He got you.
That was the best behavioral strategy that you have put into place this year. So we have extras printed out. We're just going to start putting them up all over school.
Listen, I'm pretty sure some of my kids have said some nasty things to me with my picture out there. But guess what? It's all right. We'll do that every year. Is what we're gonna do. Yeah. So that is. Anyway,
but that was just a funny little.
It was
creative.
It was creative. Listen, it was quick and creative, and it was a win-win for everybody. But that was a funny one. But we have had lots of funny ones. But we're just gonna stick with that one because
we'll stick there.
Some things you don't share. Okay, some things are not meant to share. Okay. So I think this is a good one because I think people wonder this all the time. The best part of your job and the worst part of your job. What is the best and worst part?
Okay, I'll start with my best part of my job. And I've kind of already touched on this a little bit. Just my favorite thing is getting to know the kids like so well. Mm-hmm. Their family background. Yeah. You spend all day with a small number of kids. I think that's my favorite thing is just getting to work, in way smaller groups and just getting to really know the kids. And sometimes I feel like we know them better than they know themselves and what they're needing in that moment. And that is honestly my favorite thing. Another thing is that I don't have these kids for typically just 1 year.
Yeah.
I typically have them
That's
for
true.
multiple years. And so I get to see a kid come into my program
Mm-hmm.
and have maybe 1 or 2 rough years
Mm-hmm.
where they're really struggling. And then, I get to consistently, as hard as the days may be, I am like a consistent person for them throughout their whole time in the program. And they finally learn that they can trust me and that I don't make promises that I'm not going to keep.
Yeah.
And honestly, the best thing is when I get to see that kid and they're ready to learn. And it's honestly what keeps me going.
Yeah.
And it seems like every year I've had that kid that the year before
was so hard,
was challenging, and then to be able to see them kind of put into place some of those strategies that we've worked on over the years, and using your words to express your wants and your needs, and getting to see that side of it is what keeps me coming back.
And for you, also I think about all the kids that you've had, and you have several kids that were in there with you, never hardly went to their regular classroom. And now they're leaving your class and going to a cross-cat special ed room and into their room all the time. And I look back at some of those kids and I'm like, I remember thinking, oh, that kid, I don't know if he's ever gonna be able to go to the regular. And now they transition just after a couple years, and they're going with their peers, and they're going to recess, and they didn't have any of that, and they make so I do think that is so rewarding on your part. And sometimes you don't see it because there's really hard days. But even for myself, and I'm not even in their classroom, I'm like, oh my gosh, that kid's so good. Look at what they're doing. It's like you forget, and you look back, I'm like, I can't remember, that was only last year that we thought, oh my gosh, this is going to be forever, and it's not. So I really, and I think what you said also, because that's why I like volleyball, we have them more than 1 year, and you really see the growth. Because I think sometimes when teachers just have a kid for 1 year, they go next year, you see them kind of grow, but you don't get to really see it because you're not with them. But we see, oh my goodness, how much each year they grow, because we're with them and we know where they started, and it is the best.
That's my favorite part about my job.
Now the worst part.
The worst part.
You can talk about.
I would have to say the paperwork that comes with SPED. There's a lot of paperwork, and especially when a student gets to the level of support needed in the opportunities program, because there's just so much data and anecdotal data and meetings and all kinds of stuff. And so it's kind of like a gen ed teacher, but on with a smaller class. So the scheduling
it's tricky,
and making sure that there's coverage. That's probably the worst part, is all the more clerical side of it.
And I think so much, especially when it comes to special ed, the legality of things, and how you word things and what you say, because every document you can be called into court. I mean, that's in any school. I mean, that's even a regular ed. But I think because it's a living document that has to be documented, and you have to keep track, and like you said, even your anecdotal notes, how many times this, there's so much in your day. It's not even just a hard day, but then you're having to keep track of this happens, this happens, this, and then, and I know we don't talk, but then, which these people are blessed, because I've taught special ed, but you have paras. And so you feel responsible for them. So here you are with kids, and no matter how amazing you're, when I taught special ed, my parents were probably better than I were. I mean, honestly, they were amazing. But it's still then when it becomes your responsibility of make sure they're doing their thing, and that you're giving them stuff to do, and you're supporting them. And I just think there's a lot, people don't realize how much you balance when you are in special ed and in the behavior.
And the lesson planning, because you may have, kids on different grade levels, but then even if you're working with the same grade level, they could be at different places.
Yeah.
And so the lesson planning is it's a lot. And so the paperwork side, if all I had to do was walk in and work with the kids, that would be grand.
Yeah. Well, listen, is there anything you want people to know? I mean, listen, I would love for y'all to spend a day with her. You would really respect her and see what she does. It's a lot, and she always has a smile on her face. She comes back every day. I don't know how she comes back some days, but I know how she comes back with a Diet Dr. Pepper. So she comes back every day, but she Diet Pepsi. I'm sorry. She's like, in case you're listening and want to treat me, don't be buying that junk that Robin's saying. Sorry, Diet Pepsi. But she does a great job. And so, you know what? If you have someone in your building that's an opportunity teacher or a special ed teacher, I think sometimes we overlook them, and they work hard. They have a lot on their plate. Make sure you let them know how much you appreciate them. So anyway, hey, shout out. You did a great job. It wasn't that bad, was it?
One of one podcast. Check.
You know what? Listen, she'll probably next week. So she's gonna be lingering between Jill and I. Be like, "Hey, you busy?" She's just gonna pull up a chair. She's like, "This is actually very fun."
Oh, it's three of us now.
Jill, watch out! I can already see her. She's practicing her name. Just kidding. All right. Well, I'll just do a quick little devotion really quick before we end. I've been home a long time. I've been reading lots of books. I love to read. I read all the time. But and I was reading a book, and I love fiction. I don't like really nonfiction. I'm not smart enough for nonfiction, so I only read. But anyway, I read a lot of Christian fiction books. And I was reading, and the one I'm reading right now, they said, yes, God is a God of extras. And I really love that because my family says I'm a little extra. I take that as a compliment. Not everyone does, but I feel like I am a little bit over the top on things. Like I can say, I'm going to think of that as a compliment. When they say it to me, I'm pretty sure it doesn't come out as a compliment.
You don't think they're meaning it as a compliment?
I'm like, well, thank you. And I think they're like, so that's so sweet of you. That's the nicest thing you've ever seen. But anyway, a God of extras. And so it made me really think about, like, isn't that true? And the verse Luke 38, 6:38 says, give and you will receive. Your gift will return to you in full, pressed down, shaken together to make room for more, running over and poured into your lap. The amount you give will determine the amount you get back. And I was just thinking about, like, your job and my job. And as a teacher, doesn't God give us the extra things that we don't even think we want? Like, having a decent job and be able to pay our bills, and, even like living with you have a house, but no, you live with your sisters, and you guys have such great memories. Mm-hmm. And like we laugh a lot of times because I always joke that now our pod is the up and coming pod to people. I'm like, yes, we're in the up and coming pod. And they're like, listen, you don't have bouncers. You're not a club. It's not a new restaurant. But I think, like, that is a God of extras, because he didn't even just give me a nice room and a pod, but he's given me friends that we literally laugh together and we share our life together, and we have such a good time that I could just come here and still work and feel good. But instead, it's extra. Like, he gave me more than I do. And when you pour into your job and you pour into your kids and you pour into your life, God is going to abundantly give you more than you even need or even that you want. And I just thought that's a great reminder. Yeah. And so anyway, well, listen, I appreciate it. I had to drag her in here and tie her here, so, like, she can't get out of the way. So I'm not sure I text her. I was like, listen, if you don't want to, it's okay. And luckily she came back. I was like, well, good, because that really was not where I was going to stop. I was starting with another level. I was like, well, I have no one else to do it, but that's fine if you don't want to. I guess I'll just cancel this week and no one will know, but don't worry about it. But anyway, she jumped right on. She did a great job, but we appreciate her, and she does an amazing job. And go out and appreciate your special ed teachers. And listen, enjoy your day off. If you got up at 5 this morning to listen to this, go back to sleep, because you are having today. It's a snow day. And listen, with freezing rain, you just need a little bit and you're out. So you're for sure at home. Be ready to go back to school Tuesday, because you have you know what? You're there the rest of the week. I can't do any more for you. You have to work all week. But you know what? It'll be worth it. So, all right. This is Listen.
Teacher Chatter.
This is Robin.
And Laura.
And, well, you won't see Laura next week, but you'll see me next week. But you might see Laura. Who knows? Hey, see you later. Enjoy your snow day.